You know what this is? This is my ticket to get an appointment for my vaccine. I feel like I'm the last one. So when Tokyo was announced as the host city of the 2020 Olympics, it was huge. It represented the return of Japan to the forefront of the global stage. It turned Japanese words into slogans that were very marketable. It further invigorated the push for foreign tourism. It sparked new businesses, new developments and renovations. Basically, it provided hope to a country that was being called stagnant. Truth be told, I love the Olympics. The Dream Team, Kerry Strug's landing, Usain Bolt, Apollo Anton Ono, Johnny Mosley on the moguls, Vince Carter's dunk, Michael Phelps, the comeback relay win, Beijing's amazing opening ceremony, Rikako Ike's return from leukemia, that kind of stuff, I love it. I like seeing these people from all around the world who are at the very top of what they do come together and compete. And basically, I just enjoy watching all these people perform in sports that I probably would never watch or never even know about if it weren't for the Olympics. Now, I had always wanted to see the Olympics in person. So when I was sitting in my apartment in Fukuoka and Tokyo 2020 was announced, it was amazing. It was a chance for me to be in the host country while the Olympics was going on. And so I set this arbitrary date saying, I'm gonna be in Japan until the Olympics. So of course, when tickets became available, I had to try and get some. The process was really tedious. You had to get into this website to create an account so that you could apply for the lottery. Just to get into the site to create an account, I remember being something like the 900,000th person waiting. And so after a few hours later, I finally got in, created my account, get an automated phone call, confirming my identity, and got the account, went to the other site to go and bid or enter into the lottery for the tickets. So how it worked was that as one person, you can apply for 30 tickets. So if you're going with one other person to the Olympics, you can apply for up to 15 events. Now, depending on whether or not it's a semifinal or final medal round, or where in the arena or stadium you want to be, the prices will vary. And if you don't get that seat in that particular event, you just don't get it. So I applied, and then the results came in after a little while. And a lot of people in Japan were kind of mad because most people didn't get anything. And I, as well as my wife, we lucked out. We got, between the two of us, 3 events. And they weren't events like, oh, I get to stand on the side of the road under the hot Tokyo summer sun and watch some marathon runners run by. We got 1 semifinal men's basketball game and 2 medal round swimming events. And so we're like, what should we do? Because they were expensive. The basketball game was, I think, around $200 US per ticket. And the swimming medal finals were about $700 US per ticket. But we figured, you know what? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we can always try to sell it back later if we decide not to go. So we went and bought all 3 events. And then the pandemic hit. But really, the Tokyo Olympics were plagued with problems from the get. There were rumors of insider deals. There was an issue with the logo being copied. There was the Zaha Hadid stadium design issue and cost problem. One of the top chiefs making sexist remarks. There was the shadiness of Mikiko being pushed out after she designed the opening ceremony and replaced with this guy who later had to leave because he made very rude remarks about Naomi Watanabe. You get the point. At the same time, Japan's handling of the virus got and is still getting some pretty mixed reviews. There's now been 4 emergency declarations here in Tokyo, and while the first 2 had some impact in decreasing the amount of people outside, the last one and this one haven't really done anything. And there's been a bunch of strange rules, like everything has to close at 8 p.m. or you can't drink after 8 p.m., but you can drink alone if you're by yourself. Things that don't really make sense and just seem a little bit strange. And I think people are kind of over this silliness. And while all of this was going on in the critical months leading up to the already postponed Olympics, there was a slow vaccine rollout and just a lot of mixed messaging. On one side, we have concerts and events being canceled. We have businesses being asked to shut down and close early. And then we have this push to get thousands of people from all around the world to come into Tokyo. So of course that looks like the government's priorities are a little bit off and they're not looking out for the best interests of their own people. So it's no surprise that there's a lot of people that are very vocal about this. There's talk about how the government is stupid and inept and incapable and how it's all about the money, densu. And me personally, yeah, holding the Olympics in this kind of situation is kind of nonsense. But it's also not that simple. We just don't know all the details, right? If you look back on Twitter, people had very strong vocal opinions about all of this before they even knew about the contract the Tokyo government had with the IOC. A lot of it is coming from frustration and headline reading. And we still don't know a lot of the details other than the fact that holding an Olympics during the pandemic is just kind of stupid and that the IOC is looking like a bunch of assholes. First, the government isn't just this one thing that we like to make it be. There are a lot of people and a lot of arguments going on. For example, there are events and exhibitions that were supposed to happen in certain wards, and the metropolitan government is saying to do them, but the ward government is pushing back and saying, no, we're not going to do it. And Dentsu, yeah, it's easy to hate Dentsu, but nobody's really talking that much about the small businesses that depend on Dentsu. Dentsu doesn't put boots on the ground. They outsource parts of the project to smaller and medium-sized companies who then outsource to even smaller companies, freelancers, and artists. And these are the people who are being extremely impacted by not having this work. They might have invested in staff and resources to be able to do this project, and their livelihood often depends on these kinds of projects. And if you visited Tokyo within the past few years, you might have noticed that a lot of things are coming up. A lot of things are being renovated. There's a lot of things going on. And many of them were made for the Olympics, or at least with the Olympics in mind. So that being stopped or postponed or even canceled altogether, it's gonna have an impact on a lot of people. So overall, it's just a very unfortunate situation. And me personally, selfishly, I am bummed that I can't go and see the Olympics. But no one can really prepare for this type of thing to happen. But for an event that was pushed as such a pivotal moment for an entire country, an event that was supposed to catapult an entire nation back into the forefront of the world, you just think that this could have been handled just a little bit better. But all that we can really do now is just hope that things go as well as can be. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and the bell if you haven't already. I appreciate you tuning in. Stay well, and I will see you in the next one.